Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Mizuno JPX 925 irons. Now I've got the Hot Metal, I've got the Hot Metal Pro, and I've also got the Hot Metal High Launch in my hands. They're both all 7 irons. I have got gap wedge all the way up to 5 iron, 579 gap, 579 gap, 579 gap in all of the models, but we're just going to concentrate on the 7 irons. I will be doing full reviews. I've got the Hot Metal landing later on today, and then I've got the Hot Metal Pro and then the Hot Metal High Launch, where we'll look at how these work at 3 different swing speeds and also full forgiveness testing, etc. Remember, we have got the High Launch. The High Launch is there for the slow swinging golfer. But so today what we're going to be doing, we're going to be hitting some shots into a green. We'll showcase the differences between these irons, looks, feel, and then we'll go see what kind of iron is going to be for what type of golfer. So I'm at Cabot Cliffs, hole 10. It's a par 4 normally, but I have popped the old tee up as such to 190 yards. Yes, 190 yards. I will be doing this test at my full normal speed, but when it comes to the full reviews, guys, which will be dropping later on the channel, I'll be doing the normal 3 different swing speeds, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, and full forgiveness testing as well. JPX 925 Hot Metal in my hand, and it does look different to that of the JPX 923. We have a different badge at the back especially, and it's a different colour depending on what iron there is. So we've got Hot Metal here, that's white, and then you've got blue and black for the other 2. We'll go have a look at that in a sec. It's a little bit more of a lesser cavity at the back. The badge goes much closer to the edge, so you don't see as much of a cavity. They are basically the same lofts as the old JPX 923. Hardly anything has changed at all. I don't mind saying the fact that they have reached a point of where they can push distance to the nth degree, and now they are going for forgiveness. They've realised that there's no point keep on going on about how far an iron goes. What they are now concentrating on massively is how forgiving it is. So this head and the other 3 heads, or 2 heads as well, are made in 2 pieces. The hosel and the face are made in 1 piece. That allows them to mill the back, and there is now elliptical bits in there, and again I'll pop pictures up on the screen so you can see. It enables them to have a much finer control of face thickness. There's other things in there like tungsten in there, now multi-material, etc. We'll do the full review and get into it. Right, let's give this one a hit. Down by the golf ball. Must admit, looks very similar to that of the old JPX 923 Hot Metal. That's a safe one. Don't want to go down that cliff. But I mean, that's slightly toey. Again, 1.39 efficiency, just saw that from a slight toe shot. Path is good, face is just slightly open, that's why it's gone to the right very fractionally, but yeah, slightly toey shot, but I mean, that's pretty darn good. 37 yards in the air, 48 degrees descent angle, 184 carry at 1.39 efficiency. This is what this golf club's going to work like. Again, Mizuno are saying forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. They're not doing anything to the middle. They're saying they're fast enough, they're distance inspired enough. Out of the 3, this is the medium sized one. The HL takes the biggest of the lot. Again, the larger the head, the lower further back they can make the center of gravity, increases launch and stuff like that. That's what the HL, the High Launch's design brief is for. At the end of the video, we'll have a little look at what kind of golfer is going to be using this type of iron, and also no different to the Pro we'll go do next, and then the HL as well for the slightly slow swinger. Mizuno have said they've moved the acoustics slightly to try and make it sound a bit better. You've got a sound bar at the back and stuff like this. What difference does it really make? I'm not entirely certain. The 923 was one of the softest game improvement irons on the market anyway. Well, 2 for 2. Slightly toey again. But I can't complain at all. Club path 0.5, face is open by 0.3, carbon copy strike, 7mm toe, a little bit, I mean 3mm high is nothing, 36 yards in the air, 47 degrees descent angle, 1.38 efficiency from not an ideal hit. You can feel it. And the great thing with these, again, you can, a lot of game improvement irons have a tendency to be a bit numb. You can feel exactly where you hit it with these, which is a good thing because generally speaking, strike is the most important thing. But again, there's a little elliptical thing on the face which basically runs from low heel to high toe. So when you hit slightly weird and wonderful shots, again, that's not bad whatsoever, but it will be more forgiving. That's a safer shot. Definitely not messing with that left-hand side. Cool, pretty decent as well. 1 dot information, so I might need to clean the dots on the face, but there you go. So strike was actually pretty good, fractionally slightly toey again, but 37 yards in the air, 48 degrees descent angle, and pretty decent online carry 185. So let's go flick over to Hot Metal Pro. Differences in the Hot Metal Pro is smaller looks, etc. Still the same tech as the Hot Metal, just in a smaller chassis. Let's go see what that looks like. So the Hot Metal Pro is in my hands, and automatically you can see it's a smaller size. Where the Hot Metal has got a bigger sole, this one you can see is smaller. Now it's got little chamfers on the front and especially the trailing edge, but effectively it's smaller. Blade lengths are slightly smaller, again by looks. Top lines are slightly thinner, again, it's just an aesthetics. And of course, offset. So when you go down by the golf ball, this Hot Metal Pro does look a little bit more of a player's iron, even though it's nothing to do with a player's iron. It's got all the tech, all the help in there that the Hot Metal has got, but in a smaller chassis. So if you're a golfer that aesthetics is important, obviously we have the Hot Metal Pro that will suit your needs, but same lofted, and it should do exactly the same thing. Pretty decent shot to start. That's down the left-hand side. There's not much room there. As it tails off in the rough, that's a good shot too. Path slightly across, face baby open, decent strike, 4mm toe, 1mm low. Can't complain with that. 1.40 efficiency, there we go. 36 yards in the air and 48 degrees ascent angle. So on first glance, it's doing a very, very similar job to that of the Hot Metal. And okay, if you're going to be really picky about it, I would say because of the slightly larger size of the Hot Metal, if you're looking for uber help in a distance iron, trying to get the golf ball up, etc., then maybe the Hot Metal will be a fraction higher launching. Mainly they're basically exactly the same iron. They just look a little bit different. That's going to be very close to the left edge, if not. I mean, that's not a bad shot, but that's not fair. Path is pretty decent, 0.5, face is 0, 0.0, 12mm toe, 4mm high, so it wasn't a good strike whatsoever, but 35 yards in the air, 47 degrees ascent angle, 185, 1.38 efficiency. You can see already that you don't have to hit middle, and we're not seeing that much of a drop off at all in ball speed. Still got to do the HL, and that will be more forgiving anyway because it's got more loft, but again, it's for a slightly different golfer. But out of the three, this one is definitely going to be suiting my eye more because it's the more players looking golf club, but definitely feels and looks pretty darn good for a game improvement iron. Get a little baby fade at target, quite happy with that one. Keep it away from the left-hand side, still toey. You really feel the fact that I'm not hitting middle today. Not a good day on that. But path is 0.6 across, face is baby open again. That's given that little fade. 12mm toe, see, and I'm really loving the toe today. But we've got an efficiency of 1.38 still. That is not bad at all. 36 yards in the air and 48 degrees ascent angle at 180. So even though I'm not hitting middle, and this is the smallest one of the three, actually the Hot Metal Pro is pretty forgiving, especially off toe hits. Obviously the full review, I'll be hitting it all over the face, high toe, heel low, and also the 3 different swing speeds as well to see what kind of golfer can use all 3 of these in full reviews. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you get down there, hit the subscribe button, also the bell icon, that's the notification bell. If not, you won't know. Right, let's go flick over to the HL, the biggest one of the lot, also the one with the most loft, and let's go see how that one gets on. Back now with the HL, the high launch, the biggest one of the 3. Now, why is this even in the range? Well, the high launch was designed for the slow swing speed golfer in mind. Because of such things as swing DNA, obviously you've got all of those swings that have been captured on swing DNA, and what Mizuno found, this happened obviously in 923, the HL was first seen in 923, was there are a lot of golfers, a lot of slow swing speed golfers hitting a bit too much down, not delivering enough loft, and actually not getting the benefit out of the old classic distance irons. So the HL was born. Bigger top lines, it is a decent, thick, chunky top line, and the sole is the biggest of all 3. The lowest of center of gravity of all 3, obviously the lower you can get the center of gravity of the golf club, the higher you can get the launch angle of the ball initially. And then of course you've got all of the help inside of the Hot Metal series that you have in there, also in the high launch. Down by the golf ball, you can see it's got the most offset of the lot, and also you can see a little bit of meat out the back. Wow, that's launched. Wow, that's gone. Now I have swung a little bit faster. I'm trying to get there. That's done really well. 93 miles an hour, yeah, 92.7 miles an hour. Path is very good, face is very good, strike is still slightly toey. I'm having a toe day today, but 40 yards in the air and 50 degrees ascent. 40. Yep, this is what this thing does really well, just goes up. I could honestly see, guys, if you are not offended by the looks, because this is the biggest of all three, it has the biggest sole, the biggest top line, the biggest blade lengths, the most offset. If you don't really care about looks and you are going purely on functionality, you would be hard pressed, like properly hard pressed, to not use one of these. And you've got a decent swing speed for like 90 plus miles an hour, absolutely. And you've got a swing speed of 70 or so miles an hour. Absolutely. Now, of course, if you're in the 80, 85s and you want a little bit more extra distance and help, then that's what the Hot Metal and then the Hot Metal Pro, when it's slightly better looks, is there for. But this, whoo-hoo. Now again, that was not middle. That was fairly toey as I'm trying to dial up swing speed to get the golf ball to the green. Swing speed, yeah, 94.3 miles an hour, just suffered in strike, you could say on that one. Path is really good, face is fractionally open, and 15 mil toe, 3 mil low. So in no way at all very good on strike whatsoever. But it's going 173 yards, 42 yards in the air, 52 degrees descent angle. There you go. That's just crazy. The peak height that this gets, the descent angle that this gets, I cannot get with my equivalent iron of loft. Just can't do that. There are clear advantages when you go HL. I honestly think more people should try the HL, not just gravitate naturally to the Hot Metal. Give the HL a go. Right, one last one. Fractionally to the right, you'll take that though, can't complain whatsoever. That's my fault, not the golf clubs. Leaving the face fractionally open. Path is still good, 0.8, but there's the face open, 1.4 degrees. Still slightly toey. I'm having a lovely toe day today, 8 mil toe, but 44 yards in the air, 53 degrees descent angle, 170 yards carry. It just goes up. Wowzers. Right, so let's go turn this off. Let's go to the computer now. I'll show you what I've captured when it comes to what kind of golf is going to suit what type of iron. They are going to be for distinctly different golfers, yes. So let's go see, out of these three models, which iron will suit what golfer. So the information I've got up on the chart on there, so you can actually understand how one works relative to the next, so you can decide what kind of one's going to work best for you. Now on the right hand side you can already sneak a peek of the rankings. Now that's first, second and third. When it comes to which one wins as opposed to the other ones, they're scored 1, 2 and 3. 3 is the most and 1 is obviously the least. Now on the ranking on the right hand side, I have not included the looks and feel. Why? Because that is subjectivity. This is the side of the chart which is very subjective and has got nothing to do with actual. It's what you guys, down the lens, what you think you like. So I can't add anything in there because that's just not fair to the golf club. We're looking at objective information. So the only part of the ranks on there is launch, peak height, control, distance and forgiveness. And if you look at a swing speed at 70 miles an hour and more importantly under, you can understand now how things move around. If you look at the HLs at the top, the Pro, then the Hot Metal underneath, at launch, yes, it's a 3. It launches the best out of all of them. The Hot Metal will launch slightly better than the Hot Metal Pro, only just because of the fact that the Hot Metal Pro is slightly smaller, but it is marginal. Any difference in objectivity measurements, yeah, objective measurements are so marginal when it comes to the Hot Metal Pro and Hot Metal. When it comes to the subjectivity side, the looks and feel, the looks especially, there is quite a big difference between a Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro, so you can kind of give whatever numbers you want to that anyway. But so launch is 3 when it comes to the Hot Metal high launch because it's the highest launching one by far, and then 1 and 2 to the others, they're very, very close. No different to peak height. Actually, when you're looking at taking speed away, you can see, but if you move around on the chart, especially going down to the 90 miles an hour, you will see that actually, if anything, the Hot Metal takes over because of speed alone. We'll get into that in a sec. But the high launch will launch it at the highest, will peak height the highest. You'll get the most control over it because it's got the most loft. And again, without going into D-plane and wasting an hour of your life, you with more loft will have more control over curvature of the golf ball. It will give you the most distance in carry, especially when you start dropping over under 70 miles an hour because of the pure loft and also the center of gravity of the head. And so forgiveness, yes, it also wins because it's the biggest one when it comes to forgiveness. It always works the best on the figures, and it also has the most loft. So under 70 mile an hour swing speeds, if you need help getting the golf ball up in the air, getting it going, need help for forgiveness and all those things, the hot metal high launch just stands out just over the rest. Absolutely. If you want a bit of a mixture of everything else, guys, obviously there you go. That's how they work, and you're going to have to marry up and take into account if you want the Hot Metal Pro, then yeah, you kind of get the idea. So let's look at the second one now. We are talking about swing speeds between 75 and 85 miles an hour. Now the looks and feel, that's for me. That doesn't change regardless of what speed I swing. And of course, you guys can put your own numbers in there because that's just what I like. I like the smaller looking ones. So of course, the Hot Metal Pro is going to get the most points. And then the least one will be the Hot Metal High Launch because it's just massive in comparison to the Pro. So that's how those, but they won't, again, they don't go into the ranking. When you go 75 to 80 miles an hour, not much has changed, but the distance definitely will. When it comes to that, it's the carry distance. The Hot Metal will always win now, and then the Hot Metal Pro will be very, 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 very close behind, as in basically identical. But as soon as you start going 75 to 85 mile an hour swing speed, you don't necessarily have to have an issue until you go into, say, 5 irons and 4 irons, etc. Yes, you do, but we're talking from a 7 iron point of view. You don't have a problem with distance, and of course that's when the Hot Metal High Launch just loses out on distance. Now remember, it still has the highest launch, it still has the highest peak height, and it has the most control and the most forgiveness. So even at 75 to 85 miles an hour, it still ranks out in first place overall. And remember, that's not including the looks and feel. That's for you guys to work out yourself what you like or don't. If you now move over to 90 miles an hour and over, because I swing 91, 92 generally fully warmed up, and so I'm definitely in the faster swing speed bracket. Again, looks and feel makes no difference whatsoever, it's not included. Launch, the Hot Metal High Launch has the highest initial launch, will do, because it's got the most loft. When you're looking at peak height, actually, if you look at the Hot Metal, as soon as you go to my sort of swing speed, 92 miles an hour or so, you actually get more height, more peak height from the Hot Metal, because yes, it's launching at a slightly lower amount, yes it will do, but because it's going at a faster ball speed, because I'm swinging faster, it stays on that slightly lower launch angle, but for longer, and so it just pips the Hot Metal high launch for peak height, but it's so minor, it's very, very close. So you're talking 90 miles an hour, it kind of reaches parity. Control, you're always going to get the most control with the high launch because it's got the most loft. Again, D-plane rules, you cannot get around that. Distance is an interesting one. Even though you get the more distance with the Hot Metal Pro and Hot Metal, actually it's functional distance for a 90 and over swing speed golfer, and this is the thing. So where you're looking at 75 to 85, really, you're looking at distance irons, so distance is key. When you're swinging at 90 mile an hour plus, you get distance anyway from your swing speed. So as soon as you go to a Hot Metal with 28 degree 7 irons, it's too much distance. It goes too far. Your 7 iron can peak up at 190. Heck, there are some 7 irons that I can hit 200 yards of carry. Well, that might be really good to showcase to your mates that you've just hit your 7 iron 200 yards, but it gets ridiculous. There's either loads and loads of wedges that you need because pitching wedge stops at 40 degrees, or you have huge distance gaps between your irons because they have to space everything out to get to a nominal kind of sensible pitching wedge, which is not functional. For a 90 mile an hour or over, it's just not functional. So that's why, even at this speed, the Hot Metal High Launch has actually gained the most points because it is a sensible carry number over the other two, which at that speed are a little bit crazy. Forgiveness also goes to the Hot Metal High Launch. It's got number 3 because it's the biggest golf club and the most loft, and of course it's very close between the other two. Hot Metal Pro will always have the least because it's the, well, 28 degrees, it's got the same amount of loft as Hot Metal, but it's smaller. Size rules on that one. And so you can see the ranking there. On average, you can see how well the high launch does. It ranks first for swing speeds under 70. It ranks first for swing speeds between 75 and 85, and it only, since second place, only gets outdone on balance by the hot metal. However, I would still say, for me, knowing what I want from a golf club and stuff like that, I would still have to move that around. I would still put, personally, the high launch at first, and then second and third between the other two. It just goes to show, when it comes to whatever you need out of these golf clubs, there is a golf club now in the JPX range, and especially in the, obviously, the car side, for the game improvement side of things, to suit every single golfer. So if you look at the looks and feel very, very quickly, of course, yes, the high launch is going to be the biggest, the Hot Metal Pro is going to be the smallest, and again, that will be very much so down to what you think is good or bad, and then feel within reason, guy. They're so close. If you were going to critique it to the nth degree, I would say the Hot Metal Pro feels the best, or sounds the quietest, and then you got the Hot Metal, and then the Hot Metal High Launch is arguably fractionally loudest, but it's such a tiny amount. There you go, it's kind of a bit daft. Hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, go on, thumbs up. YouTube likes, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free, it's great for the channel. If you could subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon, that's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. I've got the Hot Metal Pro and Hot Metal High Launch full reviews coming just after this video, so go on, get the bell on. We'll see you again soon.